Hello, I'm Charles Traub, and this is my new book, Skid Row. Approximately 100 pictures taken in uptown Chicago and the Bowery here in New York. These pictures are accompanied by a wonderful text by the philosopher Tom Hune, who explores the ethical, moral, and real life issues of the people who are depicted herein. Those communities are now very gentrified, and they are not safe places for people who once sought shelter there. I'd like to read a little bit from my introduction to give you further information about what this book is. The dust jacket of the famous writer Nelson Algren's famous book, A Walk on the Wild Side, proclaims that the book asks why people sometimes develop as greater human beings than those who have never been lost in their lives. Whether in Uptown, Skid Row, the Combat Zone, the Tenderloin, or the Bowery, such lost people existed. They were a community, a part of the fabric of the city life, an inevitable truth of life's hard times. I went to Uptown in Chicago in the late 70s and headed to the Bowery in New York shortly afterwards. I see now that I went to these strips with the same intentions as any other visitor. I wanted to see, to try to touch, or at least with my camera, the experience of bewilderment, of loss, to say, I saw reality and that I know something of the other. Of course, looking and taking have nothing to do with really being there in the psychological and physical state of those that I photographed. Yet, more than 4 decades later, in the assembly of these pictures, I find the nobility that exists in all of us, even in the worst of times. We are all connected. We have lost the experience of that connection because today, all such places like the Bowery or Uptown have been transformed by the urban chic, holding on only to the nostalgic names of the neighborhoods. The writers who wrote about these places are all gone. Nelson Algren, James Farrells, Studs Terkels, Damon Runyons, Joseph Mitchells, the William Kennedys, not to mention the Patti Smiths. They all understood the places and the characters, the times and the realities. Today, the noble savages of Skid Row seem to no longer exist. And rather, we are experiencing a kind of homelessness throughout our nation that is not so much caused by individual fates, but more by the great disparities and our indifference to the plight of others.